Hoo-ah! Welcome back, gals and ghouls, as this week I'm taking a look at a toy line that's bad to the bone, with the Skeleton Warriors. Hoo-ha-ha!
This young prince, the Skeleton Warriors are led by foul Baron Dark and will stop at nothing. Once they were men, but served a force so evil it devoured everything, leaving only their bones. They are advancing towards you, young prince. Oracula, armed to the teeth. Dr. Cyborg, the high-tech horror. The slow but dangerous dagger. All of your allies have fallen, save Lightstar and his companions. Skeleton Warriors, they're bad to the bone.
The Skeleton Warriors was created by Landmark Entertainment Group in 1994, and Playmates, who produced a set of 8 action figures that each came with a bio card and mini comic book. The story behind the Skeleton Warriors begins on the planet of Luminare, where Prince Lightstar fought for control over the Lightstar Crystal with his evil brother Baron Dark to control the City of Luminicity. Baron Dark was only able to get half of the crystal, which turned him into an evil living skeleton, and gave him the power to recruit an army for evil and turn them into living undead skeletons. In order to combat this new threat, Prince Lightstar formed the Legion of Light to drive back Baron Dark and his vile minions. The Legion of Light included Prince Lightstar, aka Justin Steele, the rightful heir to the throne of Luminicity and champion for good. Grimskull, his brother, aka Joshua Steele. He is Prince Lightstar's younger brother who once out of jealousy served Baron Dark. He realized his mistake, but the crystal left him half undead and covered in flesh. Not fully human and not fully skeleton, he can travel through the shadows with his faithful companion, Stalker. Ursak the Guardian. He is the advisor to the king and uncle to Justin and Joshua Steele. He is skilled in hand-to-hand combat, as well as a technological and scientific genius. Then we have Baron Dark and his evil minions. Baron Dark tried to take control of the Lightstar Crystal, but only caused it to split in two. His half turned him into an undead skeleton because of the evil in his heart, and he uses this power to recruit soldiers for his army to conquer Luminicity. Dr. Cyborg, a half-skeleton, half-cyborg, who is Dr. Baron's second-in-command, as well as lead scientist. He creates twisted dark weapons that destroy the Legion of Light. Oracula, a 6-armed brute who has only one goal, battle and destruction. This simple-minded skeleton has no need for tactics and is happiest on the field of battle, fighting his enemies. Shriek. She was once a beautiful woman, but Baron Dark saw her evil heart. Her banshee-like voice can tear her enemies to pieces. Dagger is Baron Dark's loyal servant, whose treachery knows no bounds. He will follow his Dark Lord to the ends of Luminare to retrieve the crystal. On September 17, 1994, the Skeleton Warriors cartoon was aired on CBS for 13 episodes before being cancelled, and the episodes released to VHS the following year in 1995 to promote alongside the action figure line.
These are the tales of the Skeleton Warriors.
Unfortunately, by the summer of 1995, toy sales for the series had dropped off almost completely, and with the cancellation of the cartoon series, the Skeleton Warriors were laid to rest almost as quickly as they had risen from the dead. Ha ha ha.
Alright, gals and ghouls, let's take a look at some of the cool Skeleton Warriors merchandise and action figures that I have in my collection, and I certainly have a spooky assortment of cool Skeleton Warriors to take a look at here. So first on the left, let's check out these really cool Skeleton Warriors VHSs. And this we have, I believe this was the first one, the Flesh and Bone Skeleton Warriors episode, and then we have the Trust and Betrayal Skeleton Warriors episode, and these are really, really ghoulish looking, because they have some really great artwork, and then on the back, I think it's really interesting, along with the pictures here, it actually says, in the tradition of X-Men. You actually can see, like, with, Lightstar's armor and stuff, he kind of looks like Cable or Bishop from like the animated X-Men series, so but that doesn't speak well of the Skeleton Warriors series, because it shows they don't have a lot of confidence in the art style and in the writing and in the animation. And myself personally, I don't know if any of you were fans of the Skeleton Warriors show, but I thought that it was fantastic. I always watched the episodes. I didn't own any of the action figures growing up, but I really, really liked the cartoon, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Gargoyles in the way that it was very dark and creepy and had really good plot lines, and I really liked the way they did the Skeleton Warriors themselves. I wasn't too big of a fan of like, the Legion of Light, the good guys, but I thought like, the Dr. Cyborn and Baron Dark, like they were really, really cool looking. They were really neat, and they just had that kind of like, a lot of people reference them to like McFarlane, like that when you saw those action figures coming out and the way they were so detailed. And I think that's part of the reason why this line failed, is because I don't think people were ready for that in 1994 and 1995. And the ultra realism, at least of the skeleton warriors, the bad army led by Baron Dark, they were so ultra realistic that I don't know if people knew what to think of them. And I think parents probably thought they were a little too creepy and spooky looking. And then the good guys on the opposite side, they're just too generic. Nothing really stood out about them. So I think since this, to me, at the time, I can see a lot of more like adult collectors were collecting these figures rather than, them just being sold as like toys, because the way that they're so detailed, there weren't really many action figure lines like that. They're, Ninja Turtles, anything of that sort, but just didn't have that level of high detail and the shading and the art put into it. So I think that's what makes it very, very different. Now, something else that's really neat that comes with these VHSs, as you see here, is it comes with temporary tattoos. And one of these, I didn't actually know it until I opened them and looked inside. One of them actually had a little set of the temporary tattoos. This has the Legion of Light, and I'm sure the other one has like Baron Dark and all of his baddies there. You can see Dr. Cyborn and everything on there. And let's see, 5 exciting full color temporary tattoos. So there's a 5 series set. And this expires September 30th, 1995. I wonder if I think this is probably pretty expired by now. So let's see, 30 stickers, 20 temporary tattoos for only $10. That's actually sounds like a good idea, even by 1995 standards, because VHSs, you wouldn't believe in the 80s and 90s how much getting a VHS like this was probably like 20, maybe $30, and in the 80s they used to be like 30 to 50. So when you had VHSs of cartoon series and stuff, you probably meant that someone spent a good deal of money on them as a gift, like Christmas or birthday for you, because they were not cheap. So the episodes you had, I know a lot of my friends had them, they watched them over and over and over again, even though they were just the same, whether it was G.I. Joe or He-Man or what have you, they weren't cheap. So these were neat, and that was actually a pretty good deal. If it was $40, I don't know if that was with the tapes or the stickers or just for the stickers, but that's actually not a terrible deal for 1995 standards. And these, I think, are really neat. We'll get a good up close look at them, and of course, I'm not going to use them, but they look like they're in good condition. I would expect these to be able to be applied very easily. Look like they would still stick and really neat, especially the little Skeleton Warriors logo. That'd make a cool tattoo, actually, not even just a temporary one. Alright, now let's take a look at some of the action figures here. And of course, first we have Prince Lightstar here, and I remember I got him really cheap at a flea market. And so don't be freaked out by this. The plastic's already coming off, so when I go to pop that off, it's just the glue is already long since worn away, so it's good for display, and then I can just kind of put it back in place where it was. I love the artwork on here, this metallic skull, the Skeleton Warriors logo, so cool. And then you got Prince Lightstar here, which he kind of reminds me of like the New Adventures of He-Man or like Captain Power or something, the way he looks with his armor and stuff like that. And then also kind of like Last Action Hero with the types of weapons, the firing projectiles, the big laser cannon. I like the sword. That's a really cool looking sword. That looks really good. He's got the skull, on the front of his armor there. And we'll take a look around here on the back, and you can see it has a description of all the different action figures. Now, I'm sure some people might ask why I didn't mention Claw in the series of the Skeleton Warriors, lore and things like that. Well, that's because he really isn't canon. He only makes a very small appearance near the end of the series where Baron Dark recruits him, and there was never an action figure of him produced to my knowledge, so that's why I left him out, because he was such just a footnote that he really wasn't worth mentioning. Didn't really contribute anything to the series, at all. So then we have, we have all of his accessories here. His skeleton stopping weapons, the light shard sword, spring-fired skeleton polarizer, and let's see. I can't see what that says. Something blade knife. That's very blurry font they're using. Skeleton finder, and the light star crystal fragment that he has in his armor. And then you have his little bio card down here. And like I said before, Landmark Entertainment and Playmates, they were the ones that produced the cartoon, and Playmates was the company that produced the action figures. And this was originally sold at Clover, $5.91. I don't know. I wonder if that was a clearance price, because you can see there was another tag down the bottom. Maybe they were getting rid of these. That's an odd price, $91. That's a strange price. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this open. And one thing I didn't really know about until this actually came apart is that these came with these awesome full-color posters and mini-comics, which are really amazing, and I don't think that there's a lot of these out there. And not that they're really valuable or anything, but they really have an awesome look to them. Kind of like Dungeons and Dragons look to them. And just look at that fantastic artwork. Like as you saw with these images in my video, and they're bad to the bone. It's a small little poster, but wow, that's some really good artwork. And then we have the little mini comic here on the back. Prince Lightstar leads Talon, Grimskull, and Guardian on a dangerous mission into Baron Dark's castle. 30 seconds to detonate. Tick, 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 tick. Quietly, they hide a ticking bomb that will blow up the castle's power station, but they are discovered. And there's Baron Dark. It's Prince Lightstar and his Legion of Light. We must destroy them. Let's see, who's saying what first? Fools, do you think you can defeat the power of Baron Dark and his Skeleton Legion? Baron Dark, battle stations. I'll take Oracula. Leave Shriek to me. I'll handle Dagger. That's so weird. I don't understand Talon. Why is it called Talon? Is it the Ursak? Who the heck is Talon? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, let's see. We've got to hurry, Lightstar. That bomb will go off any minute, right? Let's finish these guys off and get out of here. As you say, my brother, I'll just blast through Dr. Cyborn so we can get away. Is that way? All the action figures' names have been mentioned. You'll never escape me, Lightstar. We will chase you to the ends of Luminary. Shouldn't you open your going away present first? Tick, 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 tick. Present. Tick, kaboom! And so Baron Dark and his Skeleton Legion are once again defeated by the power of Lightstar and his heroic family. So the battle goes on, but Lightstar and his Legion of Light will be waiting, defending all living things against Baron Dark's evil plans. So pretty neat, but I gotta say, that's probably a part of the failing with the series there, is just that the storyline, aside from the characters, which are very creative, I think the overall story is just really generic. And it doesn't grab you. It's like, oh, we're protecting for good. Yeah, well, who isn't? Like, you need to be a little more specific than that. All right, so here we go. Let's take Lightstar out of here. We can get him all set up with all of his accessories. We got his little blaster. And his projectile. There's Lightstar. There's the sword. And luckily, this is all in good shape, so I can just put this all back in here. You know, not that it really has that much or any value at all, because it's The packaging is in horrible shape, but still. And there's that. There's the skeleton finder. And his knife. That wants to get out of there. There we go. Alright, so let's give him the sword. There we go. The capes are a weird, heavy plastic. Like, you can probably hear that clunk around. I mean, it's not bad, but it is a little unusual. Let's see. So there's his skeleton finder. I think this opens up. Yeah, there we go. And it's kind of like a tricorder from Star Trek. Like, you can give it to him. Let's see, I guess he would hold it like this or something? Maybe it just hangs. Does he have a belt buckle? Let's see. No, let's see. I don't really see a way that maybe he just puts it, just kind of grips it, I guess. There we go. He's like, Captain Picard. Oh, wait a minute. I think there's some skeletons around here someplace. Beep, 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 beep. So that's kind of silly. And then here's this little blaster. We'll load that up. And then we can just give it to him like that. Whoops, that doesn't want to... One thing I hate with action figures is they never want to hold their accessories. Like, when they have a pistol or something, the hands are always so poor. You usually have to, like, bend the fingers in, because they never want to grip. Alright, so there's Lightstar. And, looks really, really good. I don't really like the blaster so much. I think he looks much better just with the sword. I mean, aside from the fact that he doesn't even want to hang on to his blaster. But he looks really cool, I think. You got the part of the Lightstar crystal in his armor. And that sword is just amazing. It's really, really cool detail on that. And I love the color, even though I'm sure some of that's faded over time. His armor and everything looks good with the cybernetics. It's a little implant above his head. There's some decent articulation with these, which kind of remind me of like the He-Man Origins figures. I mean, they don't really pivot at the wrist, but there's a nice pivot at the elbow and at the shoulder. And you can see where this was first starting, where you would see that with more modern figures for really collectors, where, you know, more points of articulation than you would see on something that is, you know, would just be classified as a toy. And I think that that's where you had a little confusion of who were these really marketed to. It has a similar type leg style like the New Adventures of He-Man figures. I like the cape, even though I was kind of bad-mouthing it earlier. I do think it looks nice. Nice color, nice texture. Love the armor. And just overall, really, really cool. Let's see if we can get him to hold that laser pistol one more time. I think if I just kind of lean it back, that's going to be my best bet. And there we go. There is Lightstar. With this little skeleton detector. That's silly. Wonder how that works. Just detects bones. So he'd be detecting himself because under his flesh, he's a skeleton too. He's a traitor. Oh, and there's his little dagger and knife. I forgot about that. We'll give him that too really quick. Just in case his sword isn't enough to get the job done, he's got his handy little skeleton dagger there. Alrighty. And now, aside from Lightstar, I say aside from Lightstar, it's the only two figures I have, but I really like him because of his sword. But of course, and I wish I had more of his accessories or any of them to begin with, we have Baron Dark. Let's hear it for him, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! It's the Skeleton Muppet Show. I don't know what that was. But, yeah, so he's missing one of his little, either that or just popped off. He has, like, these funny, or they kind of look like Napoleon Like, see, he's got like these weird little I don't know, like they're like a military uniform, like shoulder pads, which look rather silly. And he's got a skeleton, like a skull, with a beard. I don't know how that happened. How did that guy retain his beard after death as part of his armor, like a necklace? And he's got the other part of the Light Star crystal, this yellow part here, the part that broke off. And yeah, like I'm not sure. Like, how does he have hair? How is that happening? And then part of it's gray and part of it's black. Does that mean like this is like that's still alive? Like he's still aging after he's dead? Like he's just now going gray after like a couple hundred years. He's got these really cool spiked like gauntlets or bracelets or whatever you want to call them. Now his legs, they really move very bizarrely because like it's really hard to pose him. His one leg is just like lurching forward like that. And I think he looks really good, but I think they could have picked a better pose for him. You gotta love that cape. Oh my god, it's so cool. The holes, the creases and everything, how it's like black and burned at the bottom, and that nice color of dark red. Just has that total like evil emperor, evil warlord look to him. And he's got these spiked I don't know, just spikes on his toes, like his sandals, you know, and then he's got like these little furry gauntlets that go around him. And but you can see what I mean about like how this really looks like. Oh, and he has his cool gold eye. He kind of reminds me of like like a pirate or something, like a pirate skeleton. So maybe that was part of the why they didn't also sell that great. Like he's just looks kind of odd, but still looks really neat. But you can see how like the detailing in the face and everything. So to market this as a toy, I can see why someone would pass on that, and why it might look a little too spooky. Someone might think, oh man, that guy's creepy. I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to buy, some G.I. Joe stuff or whatever, another, Power Rangers, another toy line. And this is, to me, I think this is the beginning of where you see these detailed figures and where you really see collectors come into play. And you had a whole new line of action figures, that started to come out as a result of the Skeleton Warrior line. And I think Baron Dark, I always want to call him Baron Von Dark. I think that would be a cooler name for him. He just looks really cool. I think the other problem with the line, though, is all the skeletons look so similar that there's no variety. So, I mean, you do have some variety. They look a little bit different, but they all just have the same tone and shape, and they have a couple of weapons, but they blend together. And then the good guys, like Lightstar or whatever, like Lightstar's so generic, he doesn't stand out. He's like, hey, I'm regular guy with some armor and a sword, and I mean, what series didn't have a hero with a magical sword, and some magical crystal? And it's like they just needed to do more to make it stand out, and I think that's why it failed. And we can have him do battle with Baron Dark here. Give me your crystal. Never. Stab, stab, stab. Stab, stab, stab. Haha, you can't hurt me, you fool. I'm a skeleton. There's nothing there. You're just hitting air and bones. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Well, stab anyway. Haha, take that. And that pretty much does that. Let's test fire his little laser gun there. Let's see how that works. And he's like, oh yeah, well stabbing's not your thing. Let's see how you handle this. And boom. He's like, seriously? That didn't even faze me in the slightest. That tickled. So, may have needed some better testing with that accessory to go with Lightstar. I gotta say, that's kind of weak if, like, one of your main things that you're giving one of your main characters can't even knock over. I guess maybe one of the smaller guys, like Dagger or something, who could knock over, but that's kind of weak. Again, like I said, I really do like the sword. I think the sword looks really awesome. I think that it's really, really cool that they came with the mini-comic and everything. I think the art style looks so good. I think that this line had so much potential, and it really didn't go anywhere. It lasted about a year and a half, and then, like I said, it was laid to rest as soon as it came back from the dead. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed taking a look at this really cool and spooky Skeleton Warrior series for my Halloween series. And I'll see you guys back here next week for another installment in Halloween.
Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and you can follow me at Facebook at King of Retro or Twitter at #8ByteBrian. See you next time.